problem. All right. What I was asking is, do you have it already queued up? Well, good evening, everybody, and once again, welcome to the Mr. Phil Show. Of course, as I say, every week we have an excellent show, but that's because I feel that we run an excellent show every week. This one is going to be totally different tonight. We've rearranged our set, as you can see. I believe we're going to try to keep it this way just to be a little bit more comfortable. Our guest tonight is not going to be going over to the regular area where we set up singing, because this is a totally different type of thing, and I'm not going to let it cat out of the bag. I'm just going to let you stay tuned, keep watching, and see what happens. I think you're going to be very delighted, and you will be blessed by this tonight. And right now, without any further hesitation, I want to introduce my best friend, and hopefully yours, Mr. Phil.
Over there.
How are you today? So, how you doing?
Okay.
That's good. So, people have seen things on your Facebook. You had tests done, and we're a little concerned about Phil's cardiac problems, but he is going to be under the care of some of the best doctors up here in Orange County.
Right.
And I think that you want to fill people in a little bit, because I know you put it on your Facebook.
Right.
So let's give them an idea of what's going on.
Okay. You know, I went for these tests. This was a new doctor that I had just started with, so I had to start from scratch with him.
Right.
And, you know, it wasn't in the favor of the way we would have liked it.
Right.
So now I have to continue it and come up with a plan on.
But there is a plan in place, or there will be a plan in place after next week.
Yeah, I have to go back in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Okay.
Yes.
So that everybody's just up to date. We're taking care of Phil as best as we can.
Right.
And we're going to make sure that he's still on, and he's still on the air and still around. And the show will go on. Should they decide to put him in the hospital for more testing or anything like that, I will be here. I will bring you the show. And I may even go and videotape a message from Phil from wherever he is,
Right.
which would be quite interesting.
Yes.
In the meantime, we also have our telethon should be coming up soon.
Right.
And we want to just let people know right now, as we do always, we are in need of equipment.
Yes, we are.
We're in need of replacements. We're in need of maybe some new stuff for the sets. Anything that
Definitely.
anybody has that you want to donate.
Yes,
That
of
would be
course.
great.
We'll take that.
And checks.
Yes, checks.
Always checks.
Right, and you could help us get the telethon started early, like you've done in the past successfully.
That's right.
So if you could make out your checks to Access 23 TV and send it to P.O. Box 321, Port Jervis, New York 12771, that would be great to get our telethon started early.
Right, because a lot of the areas that we show our TV show is shown on will not pick up the telethon, because the telethon is live only here in the Port Jervis area. So we'd like to bring it to all of you so that you know that this is what we're doing, that this is what we are in need of, so we can continue to bring you the types of shows that you like, and maybe we can even improve them.
Right.
And, so Phil is going to repeat the address and all that information at the end of the show before we sign off.
Right, because we really have to do this.
Oh, absolutely. We're working with a skeleton crew all the time because it's all volunteer. If anybody has the know-how and they'd like to join Access 23,
Yes.
my address, maryfrostsings714 @yahoo.com, is there. You can shoot me an email and let me know that you're interested. And I will set you up with something so that we can get you on here and get you started with us.
Right, because the thing is this, what you need to do is go to 3 meetings, and then you become a member. Now,
Right.
the thing is, the next meeting is Tuesday, September 18th at 7 o'clock. So if you want to join, come on down, and we'll nominate you and get you in there and
Sure.
get you going.
We can use all kinds of talented people. We need, camera people. We could use sound people. Right now, my husband Ken is the only man that is running the whole production back there in the booth, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, he is.
But I'm sure he would really appreciate a little bit more help, so he doesn't have to run back out here and adjust cameras, run back there and adjust sound.
Right.
You know how it can be.
Yes,
We should probably get him some roller skates.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny when this was just a small karaoke show. In the old days, we had 3 people in the control room,
Wow.
plus camera people. My son was one of them. Yeah, Alan used to do cameras there.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
in those
family
days,
affair.
we only had 2 cameras.
Wow. Okay. Well, we have 3 now, but sometimes we only use 2. Sometimes we use all 3.
Right.
Tonight, we're actually filming our whole show just from this set tonight.
Right.
We're not going to have our performance stage because we're going to be showing a video instead of our performer.
Right.
And then later on, he'll be doing something. And actually, we've got him set up so that he can stay close.
Right. And
This is going to be terrific.
right. And Mary, I learned a lot from you this week. What a side of you that I never knew about.
Oh my, now he's going to embarrass me. No, not embarrass me, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say embarrassed because this is a part of me that's the spiritual side of me, the religious side of me that most people don't get to see.
Right.
We had our dear friend Lena Shockley, her husband passed. She did a funeral for him in Colorado, which is where they're from.
Right.
Then she came back here to New York, and we had a wonderful wake for him on Monday
Yes, we did.
that Phil and I did music for. She wanted it to be
Yes.
a total joy and life celebration and
Yes,
a send-off
Right.
for his homecoming.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did. And more or less, I guess you would say, kind of emceed the whole thing.
Yes, you did.
Introducing things, trying to get people to come up and talk and everything. And then yesterday was the funeral. I was very, very fortunate and blessed to be part of that service as well.
Yes.
I was able to go up and do the responses and sing the Lord's Prayer, sing the 23rd Psalm, as well as the responses with the organist.
Yes.
And then at the end of the service, we went outside when we got to the funeral. Well, not to the funeral. It wasn't the funeral home. I'm sorry. The grave site. She had him put in a mausoleum, and they were bringing out doves.
Yes. Oh, that was.
So I sang Amazing Grace as they were bringing out the doves, and I was given the honor of reading the poem from the plaque that Lena now has in her possession,
Right.
with the picture of John on there and all that, which was beautiful. And they let off 3 doves at first,
Yes.
And they circled around so beautifully.
Yes, they did.
And as they were circling around, they let out one more dove
Yes.
to represent the spirit coming in and joining those doves. And then those doves, they flew off and they go back to wherever they go off. But
Right.
it was absolutely beautiful.
Oh, it was.
Wonderful send-off. And now that he's home
Yes.
and he's with his maker and he's watching us,
Yes.
he's watching Lena, he's making sure that she doesn't make any missteps. I think he'd bonk her one if she did.
Yes.
But, you know, it was a very wonderful,
Oh.
enlightening experience and a side of me that Phil's never seen
Right.
in the 3 years we've been together.
Yes.
But it's not a side of me that comes out often. Although I'm very spiritual with people, they don't get to see that. So it was something quite different for us to do.
Oh, it was. I mean, and it was just beautiful, and Lena was so grateful to us for that.
She was very grateful, very gracious. You know, I got a nice thank you online on my Facebook. And Lena, just so you know that we are passing blessings around to you and your family. And we know John's watching. So
Oh, yeah.
John, great big smiles for
Yes.
you.
You know who he's standing with watching?
Oh, he's there with my dad and your dad and the whole. That's right. They're all standing there together, watching, looking down at us, doing this show right now.
Right.
That's right. So we have to do a really good job.
Oh, we sure do. We're being watched by all of them.
That's right. That's right. And that's a good reason to always do your best
Yes.
because you're always being watched.
Yes, it is. I mean, and it was, you know, very beautiful yesterday.
Yes. And interestingly enough, our star for the night, Joe Wooley, is also a very spiritual man. And a lot of what he's going to talk about and what we're going to do tonight has a lot to do with the same thing. So as things happen to turn out on our shows, everything seems to fall together
Right.
without a plan,
Yeah.
without a real without our plan,
Yes.
okay? But it falls together that everything always works.
Right.
So that everything is as if we planned it to be this way.
Right.
But we didn't know ahead of time of John's impending death.
No.
But we did know that Joe was coming on. And what a perfect way for us to end Lena's period of letting him go to rest.
Right.
I think that's wonderful. So we are going to sing
Okay.
a song for everyone tonight.
Yes, we are.
Which one?
Stand by me.
Ah, yes, Stand By Me. And this goes out to everybody who's been standing by us all these years.
Oh, yeah.
And with your donations, with your prayers, and with your just tuning in and spreading the word about our show.
Yes.
That's right. So we're going to sing that for you, and then we're going to
Okay.
introduce our star for the night.
Okay. Stand by me. Don't let me fall. I love you most of all. Take my hand and hold it so tight. I love you for the rest of my life.
Stand by me and don't let me fall. I love you most of all. Take my hand and hold it so tight. And I'll love you for the rest of my life.
I'll stand by you.
Stand by you. Stand by you for the rest of my life.
I'll
Stand by you. Stand by you. Stand by you for the rest of my life. Now we're rocking.
Stand by me.
I'll stand by you.
Don't let me fall.
I won't let you fall.
I love you
And I love you
most of all.
most of all.
Take my hand
I'll take your hand.
and hold it so tight.
I'll hold it so tight.
And I love you
And I love you
for the rest of my life.
So stand by me.
I'll stand by you.
And don't let me fall.
I won't let you fall.
'Cause I love you
And I love you
most of all.
most of all.
Take my hand.
I'll take your
Ooh, don't break
hand
it. And hold it so tight.
and hold it so tight.
And I love you.
And I love you
For the rest of my life.
for the rest of my life. I'll stand by you. Stand by you. I'll stand by you
For the rest of my life.
I'll stand by you. Stand by you.
Stand by you.
For the rest of my life.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in with us.
Okay, thank you.
Joe, can we have you come on over here? And we'd
Yeah,
love to
come
have
on
you
over.
join us. This is our star of the evening, Mr. Joe Wooley. And we met Joe at the Hoboken Film Festival.
Yes.
And he actually interviewed us first.
Sure
He
did.
was on the red
On
carpet,
the red carpet.
and interviewed us, and it was great fun. And since then, we've got to know each other over Facebook and
Yes.
a couple of other things, and we've got some really big projects in the works.
Oh yeah.
Okay, why don't you let our
Tell them
viewers
about
know
it. It's all
about
yours.
your project, and we do have water over there for you in case you're,
Okay, great.
because it does tend to get a little bit warm in the studio. So,
All right.
cheers.
Cheers. You're right. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the show. Mary and Phil, it's been 7 months in the making,
Yes, it has.
but now we're here. This is the day that the Lord has made. You know,
Absolutely.
it's funny that you mentioned about.
A little closer.
It's funny what you mentioned this week about the funeral and the dove's been released.
Yes.
And of course, my song and music video, God Just Laughed at Me, is sort of, a lot of it has to do with my mother's passing.
Right.
And at my mother's funeral, doves were not released. However, after my mother's funeral, ironically, a couple of hours afterwards, we were at the house, and a dove flew past my mother's house, and we all saw the dove fly past the house up into
Wow.
the sky.
She was sending you blessings.
Exactly, and that's exactly what myself and my two sisters said, and all three of us saw it, and we was like, that's a signal right there that she's resting up in heaven right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And telling us that everything is okay.
Yes.
So what I with my song "God Just Laughed at Me," the title comes from in 2016. My father, who is my God on earth, I've been saying that for years. He's literally my God on earth.
Yes.
He became ill, We didn't know what was wrong with him. He was in the hospital for 4.5 months.
Wow.
Nonstop.
That's a long time.
He was in the hospital for 4.5 months. Finally, he got to the point where he could go to a rehab facility.
Okay.
So he was wheeled into a rehab facility, which is through a tunnel of the hospital into another building.
Oh.
Once he got to the rehab facility, he was in there for another 2 weeks. We thought he was going home. Something else happened. He had to be rushed back into the hospital.
Oh, my.
So my father was in the hospital for close to 5 months. At the time, we were not aware that it's our mother who was ill. She kept it from us. She didn't want us to worry about both. So what happened, my father, about 2 weeks before my father was finally released, I was in the hospital with my father. I was in the hospital room. And as I say, my father is my God on earth. He's the strongest man I know. I mean, literally. So I was in the hospital room with him one day. He hadn't even gotten out of the bed. He couldn't walk and things like that. Right. And I remember my father's a veteran. He's an Air Force veteran. I'm a retired U.S. Marine myself.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you very much. So I have veterans benefits and so on. So I had told my father, I'm going to go get you a wheelchair, so when you get released from here. And without missing a beat, within a matter of seconds, a nanosecond, my father's response was, boy, I'm walking out of here. When he said that,
Yes.
I've never doubted my father
Yes.
in my life. But in my mind, I said, no, you're not. I'm going to get you the wheelchair because he was physically messed up. Well, 2 weeks later, he walked out of the hospital.
I believe he did.
So fast forward, my mother, shortly after that, my father gets out of the hospital. Shortly after that, our mother becomes sick. We had no idea what it was. So we take her to the hospital. They run tests and so on.
Right.
After running tests a couple of times, they said, we think she has cancer. So the following Tuesday, we take her to this cancer place. They say she does have cancer. Of course, we cry and we go through all the emotions of a loved one who's been diagnosed with cancer. However, in our minds, we're thinking maybe it's stage 1. Maybe she's got a few years left. Maybe they could do chemo, get it over with. So we said, let me fast forward with the story. So they set up an appointment to find out what level it's at and if she can start chemo. 4 days later, we go to the first chemo appointment. They could not perform the chemo because I don't remember, either her blood pressure was too high or it was too low. But for whatever reason, they couldn't do the chemo. They set up another chemo appointment 3 or 4 days later. We take her to that one. She was able to do that chemo.
Okay.
Everything is going well. She's sitting up there laughing and joking with people because that's the type of person that she is.
Mm-hmm.
The following week, we have another chemo appointment.
Mm-hmm.
She never made that chemo appointment because she passed away.
Wow. Now, what kind of cancer did she have?
It was uterine cancer, I believe.
Oh, wow.
However,
I've heard that can go
the
fast.
devastating thing about the entire story is that our father was in the hospital 4.5, 5 months.
Right.
We were hoping for the best, but planning for the worst. But it was our mother all along.
Wow.
She passed soon after our father getting out of the hospital, so it was very devastating.
Yes.
So at the same time, and not to demean anyone, everyone has gone through something devastating in their life. If you
Absolutely.
haven't, keep on living. So I was also going through another series of other unfortunate events. At the time, with other unfortunate events, my mother passing, my father being terribly ill, but of course he made a miraculous recovery. Other things were happening in my life, which will be revealed in my documentary after this music video and so on.
Okay.
So I started praying to God about a few things, and I started praying to God for certain things to happen, and the
Right.
things were not happening, and I was becoming impatient with God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to trick God because things I was praying for were not happening.
Right.
So one day, this something happened where I was reintroduced to Jesus, because I was introduced to Jesus as a child. Always believed in God,
Right.
so on and so forth. An event happened in January 2017, January 19th, 2017 to be exact. I was going through some terrible turmoils, and I was talking to God this time.
Okay.
It was a conversation. I wasn't praying. I was having a conversation, though I'm talking to you right now. I was having a conversation with God, and the conversation lasted 40-some minutes. Toward the end of the conversation, my mother appeared, had a conversation with God, and then Jesus appeared.
Okay.
And I went through a transformation, which has led me to where I am today. So I had already written a couple of soliloquies, and I started adding to it. So I've written 5 songs.
Wow.
Which have become 5 music videos, which are leading to a documentary. My good friend Mike Flowers, who you guys met at the Hoboken Film Festival.
He'd be able to come tonight.
Right, exactly. He wasn't able to. My good friend Mike Flowers, who he had put me in his music video for the Hoboken Music Festival.
Right.
That's right. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely. He was the opening music video of that. His music video in the building.
Actually, Phil and I were in that.
Right, when I first met you guys.
That's
Right.
And I was in the music video also, and Ken Del Vecchio, the producer of that, the Hollywood producer, he also put me in the movie. So we all met during that time.
Absolutely.
And that was in February of this year. So fast forward, we've all kept in contact. Yourself, myself, you two, Mike Flowers, and a few of us other people.
Yes.
Great contact. So Mike and I, we began to have a conversation. I can't sing, but I can speak. And I said, Mike, I can speak, you can sing. Let's collaborate on a song.
Absolutely.
I've written this song.
Yeah.
Why don't you sing a portion of it? I speak a portion of it. And we came up with God Just Laughed at Me. It's a song / music video. And I'd like for your audience to see it.
That'd be wonderful, yes. And it is also featuring Mike Flowers.
Right. It's
doing the song part.
right, the vocals. Well, the singing part. Yes,
Right.
my good friend Mike Flowers. Yes.
That's right. So, Ken, if you can put that on for us, we'd like to show everybody exactly what we're talking about.
And the song is based on the experience that I went through with the passing of my mother and being reintroduced to Jesus. And my mother's name is Ernestine.
Go ahead. You just have to cue it.
Okay.
All right, so this is for Ernestine.
Right. And you see at the end, my mother's name is Ernestine. So this song is in honor to Ernestine.
I have to constantly remind myself to not outpace God's plan this time. Like a heavyweight boxing champ bouncing around in the corner of the ring, I've prepared and I'm ready to get in there and win this fight. But God is saying, Joe Wooley, sit down in the corner on this stool, man. Relax. Wait for the starting bell.
Never in a million years thought it would take a turn for the worst. Thought I was your reflection. Why did I stop seeking you first? I thought I had it all made. Looking in the mirror but losing sight of my purpose. I wanna see my life clearly through your eyes. You never brought me this far to leave me this way. Got your angels all around me to keep me safe. In the middle of the run, in the middle of the road, I lost your side of you. See if you give me this chance, I'll give the glory back to you. See, I thought I was a track star. I wasn't playing my part. Simply twisted in the mind that strays away from you. Ooh, see, I'm coming back, built for war. Hands are lifted, time to soar. Staying true to the principles I learned on the way. Now I'm really good living in this moment. And the blessings of the Lord are steady flowing. I won't lose sight of the truth. It's because of you. It's because of you. It's because of you. Yeah, it's because of you.
The last time, I left my corner prematurely and started fighting. I was winning on points in the scorecards. I was aggressively knocking my opponents out. For 10 rounds, I was untouchable, throwing them lefts, hooking those jabs, delivering powerful uppercuts. I was on my way to winning the fight for us all. Invincible. 10 rounds. I was killing them, babe. Mentally, physically, morally, sexually, economically, spiritually. I had clearly dominated the fight.
Sorry that I got so stuck in the sand. My pride and my ego ruined the plan. The currency of liberty, killing them for 10 rounds. My ignorance brought me way down.
It was a 12-round fight. I had lost focus of that little fact. I had been lost in the sauce, so to speak. I had outpaced God's plan, God's strategy, God's protective custody. What did the Almighty do? He left me to my devices.
Please, I don't want to be reprobated, no. Can we have a simple conversation, yeah? I don't want to be far from you.
God allowed me to suffer toil and turmoil in the desert. Yea, though I walked through the valley of the shadow of death for years, I never lost my head. I never sold my soul.
Now I'm really good living in this moment. And the blessings of the Lord are steady flowing. I won't lose sight of the truth. It's because of you.
I constantly ask God, why? Why me? I begged, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Why is this happening to me? I was so confused. I had spent so much time praying for guidance, making moves, praying for my moves to be successful. God just laughed at me. For the first time in my life, I was scared, afraid, fearful, doubtful, homicidal, and yes, even suicidal. But I thank God there were no rounds left in the chamber.
I won't lose sight of the truth, that it's because of you.
Hashtag ERNESTINE. I'm still here.
Absolutely wonderful. How long did it take for you to put all that together?
You know, amazingly, Mike is such an artist. Once I'm a writer and I'm a poet. You're going to see that in a little while.
Right.
For me to write those, I've written 5 songs. That's the first song of 5. Once Mike and I talked about it, Mike put the music together.
Wow.
I can't even explain how fast. I think it was just a couple of days when he put the music together.
Wow.
And I'm from Buffalo. He lives in New York City. So I drove from Buffalo, New York several times for us to work on the music, work on the song, work on the music video. And he put so much heart and soul into it as though it was, well, it is about us.
Yes.
You know, because when I first met Mike, I felt how deeply spiritual the brother was.
I'm sure
you know, and we made an immediate connection right away, an immediate connection. So I should have known the type of effort he would put into it at certain points, which he probably did. I felt he was putting in more effort into it than I did. And if he's watching right now, he's probably saying, yeah, I did, you know. But, yeah, how long did it take to put together? My part took moments because I'm a writer.
Right.
And his part probably took moments, but to put it together, it took us a few weeks to put it together back and forth.
Really
The
not
editing.
very long.
Right,
Yeah.
the editing, exactly. I mean, Mike is a bad musician, so it just came together perfectly. And together we have collaborated on all 5 of the songs. So we're
That's terrific.
right. So we're looking forward to you guys seeing song 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Absolutely. And as soon
And-
as you have them
right.
ready, I want you right back here.
Please do.
So we can debut them.
Thank you.
And, you know, I'm sure that Ernestine had a hand in
Yeah, absolutely.
every single bit of this.
Right. Yeah.
She probably even got into Mike's head at some point and said,
You know, probably
this is what
did.
we need to do.
Probably did. I wouldn't doubt it.
I
wouldn't doubt
I thoroughly believe those kinds of things.
So do
You know,
I.
when I lost my dad about 3 years ago, we still to this day have conversations.
Right.
And I know when he's telling me you should do this, you shouldn't do that, or how he's steering me. And he was always my rock,
Absolutely.
as
Yes.
well as your mother, I'm sure, was yours,
Right. Yeah.
being that you're the son.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and Dad's there to
Right.
kind of bonk you on the head and
Right.
say, listen, boy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right.
Like when he was in the hospital bed, and I said I'm gonna get away. He said, "Boy, I'm walking out of here."
That's
And he
right.
said
He
it
did it.
without a smile or a frown or anything. He said it with
He-
conviction, and he
that's
walked
right.
out of there a couple of weeks
and
later.
he meant it.
Right, he
Yeah.
meant that. He's old
Absolutely.
school. You know, he's old school, deep South, Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, he meant what he said, and he says what he means. You know,
And if you
very,
don't listen
very,
to
very
me, I'm
few
going to
words.
tell you, go out and get a
that's
switch,
right.
and I'll beat it
Right.
into you.
Well, I'm a '60s baby. That's a whole nother story. You're right about that. I'm a '60s baby, so I
Honey,
wouldn't
I
even.
am too.
Right. So that day in the hospital when he said, "Boy, I'm walking out of here," you know, I've never talked back to my father. Like I say, in
Right.
my head, I was thinking, "No, you're not."
Right.
But I didn't tell him that,
Of course.
and he walked out.
Because he might have gotten up back
You know.
then. if
Well, he
you'd
probably
told
would've got
him
up
that.
right then and there, but,
And
you
smacked
know.
you right up in the head.
Right. But I've never had that problem because I've never talked back to him.
That's right. That's right. You have
know?
to. Yeah, you
Right.
do. You
I have
gotta,
way too much respect for my father.
gotta give pops the props. you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's in better shape than I am.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Hey, he is, and I'm in good shape. So.
I was gonna say, I just saw the thing on your Facebook about you
Oh yeah.
just beating your own record and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
54 years old, and he goes out and he beats his own record 10 seconds later or 10 minutes later.
It was
whatever
about 30. Yeah, I set the New York State powerlifting record last year in my division in the deadlift, and then about 30 minutes later, I broke
He
that record.
broke the record,
Broke
yeah.
my own record. Yeah.
Imagine that. I mean, this is a very strong individual. So not
Thank you.
only does he have a strong sense of self, he's got a strong body, he's got a strong
Right.
mind, and a strong
well-
belief now.
Right, and it's all God. You know,
Did you
it's all
ever-
God. I've always had a strong belief, but I was reintroduced to Jesus in such a powerful way, in an
Right.
extremely powerful way, and it seems like ever since then, things have just began to soar because none of this is me. I realize, as Mike Flower said yesterday, he and I talk a lot. He said all of this is going back in the ground. All of this, you know, this studio, these microphones, you know,
That's right.
everything is going back in the ground. You know, so we can't be too enamored about the things of this life, and I'm truly blessed, like absolutely blessed. And it's not a cliche. I'm just blessed every day. You know, not only when I wake up, but when I go to sleep. You know, I'm blessed.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah, but you know,
every moment.
the fact that you're putting this stuff down, it is going to also live on
Right.
far after you have passed.
Absolutely. I hope so.
Your children, your nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, whoever else is to come, they have this now. They have this bit of you that they can show people.
Right.
Not only the bits of you that are going to come through them.
Yeah. You're right. Well,
Always going to have that.
exactly. Well, my next song, Mike and I, next song that we've collaborated on, the title is Let Go. And it's talking about when you're at the end of your rope. You know, when you're at the end of your rope and you're holding on and holding on and holding on. But I was at the point, I was at the end of my rope.
Right.
And I was holding on. You know, I was holding on. I'm a strong person, mentally and physically. And I'm a U.S. Marine. You know, I go by that moniker.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I'm going to hold on and hold on. But it got to the point where I said, you know what? If you believe in Jesus, if you fully believe, you'll let go. So I looked down at the abyss. I looked down at nothingness, and I let go. I truly let go of everything. And when I say everything, you'll see in my documentary, which we're producing right now, I let go of everything.
Yeah.
And when I started falling, I just had faith, and I never hit the ground.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm here today to tell a story. If you saw my Facebook post today, I said I have a story to tell.
Absolutely.
You know, and I've been saying that a lot. Like 1 out of every 10 Facebook posts, I say I have a story to tell. And when you go to my Facebook page, my website, my Facebook is on there. You'll see that I do have a story to tell, and I'm hoping that it can bless others. I'm hoping because if you're not out there, you know, blessing others or ministering to others like others have blessed me, because people have came before us, not just
That's right.
this century, but centuries ago, people who we've never heard of made a right move,
Right.
and we're here right now today.
It's true.
Absolutely.
That's true. I mean, you know, everything has a reason.
Right.
Things fall into place for a specific reason.
Yes.
I fully believe that.
For instance, us meeting up and you know, the fact that you and I have touched on Facebook
Absolutely.
quite a few different times. with
Numerous amount of times.
different
Yes.
different blessings to each of us.
Yes.
It's been very nice, and it's wonderful to have somebody to be able to share that with.
Right.
Thank you.
A lot of people just, I think they're afraid of their own faith. I think they're afraid of showing it.
Right.
They
Absolutely.
get criticized,
Right.
and they say, "What's the matter with you? Are you a Jesus freak? Are you a nut? Are you whatever?"
Right.
And no, that's not what it is. It's that we know ourselves good enough, and we know God and we know Jesus good enough
Right.
that we're ready to speak what they want us to speak.
Well, I know with myself, I know what I was going through, and I know it was Jesus that saved me. I know what I went through. So as for me,
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, me too. In the Hebrew faith,
Yes.
I go to my synagogue every week, and on all holidays. In fact, I help run services. And Mary has been there, and she's seen
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
Faith
it.
is faith, right?
Yes.
That's
faith is
it.
faith.
No
You
matter
gotta have
what
faith.
you're- You know,
Right.
it doesn't come down to what religion you are.
Absolutely not. Not
Yeah.
at all.
That
it is
doesn't have a thing
Not
to
at
do
all.
with it. Religion, that's a basis,
Right.
and it sets you up with some basic rules and guidelines.
A belief system.
That's
Absolutely.
right. And it's for us to internalize
Right.
and take it to that level
Yes.
That's right.
where we feel comfortable sharing
Absolutely.
with everyone else.
Right. And I believe that things happen for reasons.
Everything.
Like 3 years ago,
Oh, and we met. Yes, I don't know if we ever actually told you the story how we met.
Not in great detail.
Well, my father had passed, and it was a couple of weeks later, and some girlfriends asked me to go out, wanted to get me out of the house. And they said, let's come on, we're going to have a girls' night out. Well, I've been wanting to do karaoke all the time. My husband kept saying, no, you don't really want to go out and hang out there. But the girls said after we had our dinner, let's go do karaoke.
Right.
I said, absolutely. You know what? Yes, my husband's not here to say no. I'm going.
Okay.
Walk into the Holiday Inn. I go up. My very first song that I ever did during karaoke was Desperado. One of my favorite songs. I love the Eagles, and they're just, to me, I think they put a lot of spirituality into their music as well.
Right. Absolutely.
And well, as I was standing there singing, Phil came from I don't know where. All of a sudden, he was standing not 10 feet in front of me, staring at me as I was singing. I look at him. I see not Phil's eyes. I saw my father's eyes looking at me.
Wow, that's heavy.
Okay. I got done singing. I stepped down from where I was, and immediately he came over and he threw his arms around me and gave me the hug that my dad used to give me all the time. And from then on, it was just, well, now he's Uncle Phil, He's part of the family.
Right.
And
That was fate. Yeah.
Yes, we have been there together through so many things.
yes, that's right.
And, it was just a matter of, I recognize there's dad's standing here in this man.
Right. Yeah.
And, he's been a great friend and taking care of me as well as I've been taking care of him.
Right.
Ever since. So I know that it was
And Destiny.
absolutely.
Great story.
That's right. Destiny.
God makes no
stepped
mistakes.
in.
That's
Not at all.
right.
Nope.
It goes beyond just the career and
Absolutely.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
We
we
take
get-
care of each other. This is a small portion of what we do.
yes.
I'm sure.
Nothing but a small portion of what we do.
I mean, before I just had a co-host sitting here doing the show, and that was it. That's all she was just a co-host and nothing else.
Okay.
Didn't take on all the responsibility that Mary did.
Right. Gotcha.
And it all just came natural. I have a background in a lot of the things that I do. I have a very religious background as well. I used to do a lot of things with my church,
Okay.
and I was like a youth minister. I used to do the children's sermons, that kind of thing. So I have a lot of background in that kind of thing.
I see you're very, very comfortable. When I walked in today, you're very comfortable with orchestrating things. You're like the maestro of this entire operation.
That's it. When I came
saw that.
here, there was no director.
Okay.
I said, you need a director. You want things to run smooth, we need a director. And I don't think that we did 2 shows together, and I turn around and I'm like, you need to have me as a partner, not just a co-host.
Right.
And that was it. That was partnership. And,
Right.
I mean, I've run the children's plays, and like I said, I would do things off the cuff.
Okay.
And that to me is like a huge, huge gift
Right.
to be able to
yeah,
do
it is.
that.
Like this. This is off the
This
cuff.
is off the cuff, the
Right.
whole thing,
I mean, and I had such luck since Mary came along. Like the first Hoboken Film Festival I brought her to
Okay.
was so different than the year before. Well, before I met her, I was there by myself. It was
Gotcha.
nice and all that, but what she added to it, with Mary being there, I got on the red carpet.
Right.
We were interviewed on a major TV station. We were like the first ones. They treated us like celebrities. And every year after that,
And
Oh,
I'm the
yeah.
one who interviewed you guys this year
And
on the
you-
red carpet.
yes,
I'm the ones who interviewed
That's
you guys.
right.
That's
and
how
I
we
mean,
met.
that again, like we said,
still have the
no
pictures and the great
mistake.
video, yeah.
Yes,
Isn't that
yes,
something?
we have pictures. We've met a lot of great people through
Oh,
that.
absolutely, yeah.
I
And
mean,
it's still
always,
going on.
It's been a wonderful thing.
Right.
And now we're going to be doing the Catskill Film Festival. Have you heard of that one?
Of course, yes. I'm supposed to be going to that one and another film festival. And actually, I heard from Ken Del Vecchio a couple of days ago.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And he and I have kept in communication. And
Yeah, we see him every
the
once
guy
in
who
a
was
while.
in charge of the entire Hoboken Film Festival, the guy who's the president of it and the founder. So,
Yeah.
it's been a wonderful journey.
That's
Right.
terrific, and
Yeah.
we're friends with Anthony Gagliardo and Charles Marinaro, who
Right.
are the heads of the Catskill Film Festival.
Yes.
So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm glad to hear that you're going to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to be at that one and a few other film. Actually, my music video is going to be entered in a couple of film festivals where they have the music portion. And
Okay.
right, yes, it's
That's absolutely wonderful.
yeah, absolutely. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Well, before we run out of time, because we do want to
Oh,
have
okay.
you do your
Yes.
thing, you do have your spoken word
yes,
poem.
I would like to do that.
And I would love to have you do that, and then we can just have you
Okay.
sit back here. We'll be able to
All right.
say goodnight to people and thank you. And
Thank you.
let's just let you get on with
All
what
right, let
you
me go set it
do.
up.
So you set that up. You have
Okay.
to finish
Right,
fix
I'll do
that up
that.
for me.
All right.
And so Joe is going to do, this is stuff that he's written,
right?
and I believe the second, at least.
This is part of the first one.
This is part
But
of the
it's the
first
spoken
one.
word portion.
Okay. Spoken word portion of the first one.
Right, exactly.
And it's set to music in the background. Like I said, this is a totally different show tonight, everybody, and I really hope that you're enjoying it. I hope that you're getting a lot out of it.
Yes,
We
definitely.
try to bring as much as possible,
Right.
as much as we can possibly throw at you in an hour.
Yes.
You know, and it's so much fun,
I
and we
hope
really
you do
enjoy
it.
doing it.
I hope you do enjoy it. Okay, are you ready?
Okay.
Set that down there.
Place it down and you press play. Okay. Wait, not yet. What this is the soliloquy that I wrote, which led to the music video and the song that you just listened to and just watched. Okay, Mary, thank you. You can cue it.
Thank you. Let's cue it up. And let's switch to Joe.
Okay. I have to constantly remind myself to not outpace God's plan this time. Like a heavyweight boxing champ bouncing around in the corner of the ring, I've prepared and I'm ready to get in there and win this fight. But God is saying, Joe Wooley, sit down in the corner on this stool, man. Relax. Wait for the starting bell. The last time, I left my corner prematurely and started fighting. I was winning on points in the scorecards. I was aggressively knocking my opponents out. 10 rounds, throwing them lefts, hooking them jabs, delivering those powerful uppercuts. I was on my way to winning the fight for us all. Invincible. I was killing them, babe. Mentally, physically, morally, sexually, economically, spiritually. I had clearly dominated the fight for all 10 rounds. But it was a 12-round fight. I had lost focus of that little fact. I had been lost in the sauce, so to speak. I had outpaced God's plan, God's strategy, God's protective custody. What did the Almighty do? He left me to my devices. I did not say he left me. I said he left me to my devices. God allowed me to suffer toil and turmoil in the desert. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death for years, I never lost my head. Never lost my faith. Never sold my soul. But I constantly ask God, why? Why me? Why is this happening to me? I was so confused. I had spent so much time praying for guidance, making moves, praying for my moves to be successful. That's when God just laughed at me. And I found myself hanging my head in shame, in private shame. Publicly, I attempted to remain positive, strong, confident, virile. But I was defeated on the inside. To those who rode with me, I pray for you. To those who went against me, I pray for you too. For the first time in my life, I was scared, afraid, fearful, doubtful, homicidal, and yes, even suicidal, all at the same darn time. But I thank God there were no rounds left in the chamber. Hashtag ERNESTINE. I'm still here. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
It's something that
Yes, it is.
anybody that's listened to it,
Right.
I'm sure that on some level they can relate.
Yes, I hope so.
I can certainly relate. I know that the strength and everything that I've had since my dad passed has come to me 100-fold. You know, I've just become a person that stepped out of my shell and just stepped in, and I've always taken care of people and I've always done things, but I've never felt as if, okay, take care of you and the rest will take care of itself.
Absolutely. Isn't that something? Right.
And now I know this.
Right.
Right.
And, Dad told me that. And I'm sure that you got that from your mother as well.
Well, I had to take tragedy and turn it around. I had to turn
Absolutely.
that frown upside down. And it wasn't in my thought process. Again, it was all God. And as I say, when I had that epiphany, and it's my story and I'm sticking to it. My mother came and had that conversation with
Yes.
God while I watched. And then Jesus appeared, and I remember shouting. I remember being sweaty from head to toe and shaking like I've never done before.
I believe.
And I had went through an experience, and it's my experience, and I went through that. And as I say, song 2, "Let Go," talks about that, and then song number 3 talks about God's plane. I had been thinking that all of my success in life was due to me being successful. I had been thinking that it was due to me being a retired Marine, due to me being strong, due to me accomplishing other things, businesses, and so on. I was treating God like God was my co-pilot.
Right.
But then when I went through the tragedies, I had to realize that it was God's plane, and I was just riding coach. And now I have a saying when people say, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I just want to ride coach on God's plane."
Oh,
You know, I don't even
There you
need
go.
first class. I mean, I can ride in the baggage department. I just want to be on God's plane because
Yes.
this is God's plane.
Yes.
This is God's plane, and a plane can be an airplane or a plane.
That's
If
right.
we remember in grade school, a plane is like a level surface.
Absolutely.
So I had to realize that. But sometimes God will bring tragedy in your life for you to come back to Him, or sometimes God can use different ways. I remember thinking that it was the devil that was putting me through that.
Yeah.
And once I began to study the Bible more and more and more, it wasn't the devil at all. It was God waking me up. Like, Joe Wooley, you're strong because of me.
Right.
You've accomplished this because of me. This song, "God Just Laughed at Me," has nothing to do with me. That came out of God through me. So I'm right now, Mike Flowers' lyric, if you listen to his lyric, one of his first lyrics, he said, "I just want to give it all back to you."
right.
You know, and that's what he's talking about. He want to give it all back to Jesus. Everything that Jesus and God has given to us, Mike wants to give it all back. So we happen to be a perfect team, and we're together on, all 5 of the songs, and the DVD, and everything is going wonderful.
Well, I can't wait to see the whole thing
Yeah.
all put together. It's
I
gonna
can't
be
wait for you to see it. I
a
can't wait for the
mighty
world to see it.
Powerful thing. And yeah, I believe that, like you say, it's God's plane.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I think, like with what you've experienced, and we've all gone through that tragedy,
Right.
sometimes we need to be given a little shove off that plane to realize that wasn't ours to begin with.
Not at all. Not
We
at
have
all.
to step back up there, but we got to toe the line.
Yeah.
And we have to recognize where it come from, and give every bit of honor and glory and praise to where it comes from.
Yeah. Yeah. Give God the glory.
That's right.
Give God the glory.
As long as people do that, and I do that myself in loving others as unconditionally as I can.
Right.
Whether they be my friends, my foes, or just somebody I don't even know that I pass in the street.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's exactly where, my plan takes me. I walk past someone in the street and automatically they're touched, they turn around and they come back for me,
That's a good plan.
which is
Right.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing. Phil has actually experienced that with me.
Yes.
People will just they pass me like, wow, what did I just walk past? Well, now I'm going to give it to you.
Right. Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, and I feel that with you.
Thank you. I feel it with you also. That's why I'm here.
Exactly.
That's why we're here. Hopefully I can come back.
Oh, we'd love
You
that.
will,
You
I'm
will.
sure,
Hopefully you
be
guys will have me back. Thank you.
Yes, and once again, I'd like you to repeat your information,
Okay.
and it's also going to come up again on the credits.
Okay.
But tell people how they can get in touch with you and how they can reach you.
Okay, thank you. My website is www.joewooley, that's JoeWooley.com. And underneath my website, you'll find my Facebook, my Instagram, my Bandcamp, which shows my music, is joewooley.bandcamp.com. That's also underneath my website. And there are other ways to contact me also. And please do contact us. My Instagram is on there. I'd love to hear from you. Hopefully, through this show, I have motivated someone. We're all God's children. And as I say in the beginning of the show, we've all gone through something. If you haven't, keep on living. That's it. But please contact me. I'd love to hear from you. I'll respond back. And again, thank you for having me on the show. I'm truly blessed. I really appreciate it.
It was our pleasure.
It's our pleasure to do
You
that.
know.
Absolutely.
And you gave me the courage to go through what I have to go through.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir,
Because
absolutely.
with everything that Phil has right now as his challenges, this, I think, we are both able to build him up. I've been trying to do it on my own.
Okay.
And I
Yes.
think with you being here, it's strengthening my ability
Wow. Thank you.
to be
So
able
we're strengthening.
to help him. Yes, to know he's going to be okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You
Right.
know? You're going to be okay, and God will take care of you.
Right.
So one more time, let you give the address and payment, where to send the checks to and how to make them out for our show.
Okay.
And then we need to say goodbye to everybody because our hour's over.
Okay, so make out your checks to Access 23 TV and send them to exactly that, Access 23 TV, P.O. Box 321, Port Jervis, New York, 12771.
All right, and that would do it with us for tonight. And you are more than welcome back. Expected back.
Thank
Yes.
you. I appreciate
Next
it.
time, Mike Flowers, please, can you try to come in with
I
him?
will do my
That would
best to
be
get Mike Flowers in here.
wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So, from all of us over here at the Mr. Phil Show,
Yes, we will see you next week for another exciting show.
yes, and we hope you enjoyed this one. And please send some feedback. We
Please do.
enjoyed that.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good
night.
night.